At least 15 people were killed on Tuesday in Afghanistan's eastern city of Jalalabad when gunmen stormed a government building, trapping dozens inside after a suicide bomber blew himself up at the entrance gate. There was no immediate claim of responsibility. The attack specifically targeted the compound of Refugees and Repatriation Department. It ended after more than 5 hours of intense fighting between militants and security forces. Eleven people have been killed in a suicide blast in Philippines. The blast took place when a bomb went off in a stationary van near a military checkpoint. Authorities say that the suspected bomber, a soldier, 5 paramilitary troopers and 4 civilians, including a mother and her child, were killed and 7 people were wounded in the blast. The blast took place in the island province of Basilan, which was the previous stronghold of the Abu Sayyaf group, notorious for kidnapping and banditry. The Islamic State's new agency, Amaq, released a statement claiming responsibility for the attack. As Yemen's bitter civil war shows no sign of easing, it's the country's civilian remains in the most affected. The UN's World Food Programme stated on Monday that more than 8 million people in Yemen are now living in extreme hunger and depend entirely on external food. Saad on the border with Saudi Arabia remains one of the most affected areas, with infrastructure completely destroyed from the fighting. Yemen has been locked in a bitter civil war since 2014. Fighting between the Saudi-backed government forces and Iranian-backed Houthi rebels have ravaged the country, leaving 22 million out of the country's 29 million in need of some form of humanitarian assistance. The Islamic State has released a video of the purported Tajikistan attackers. The attackers are shown pledging allegiance to the group's leader, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. The militant group sought to bolster its claim of responsibility for an attack which killed 4 Western tourists in Tajikistan. 4 Western cyclists were killed in the ex-Soviet state on Sunday when a car plowed into them on a rural road. The attackers also stabbed the victims after the crash. Authorities claim that this is the first such targeted attack on Westerners in Tajikistan. Polling ended peacefully in Zimbabwe for the first time since the removal of Robert Mugabe from power in a de facto coup last November. However, the country's opposition accused the Election Commission on Tuesday of deliberately delaying results of this week's vote to favor the ruling party. The Election Commission claimed that there was no rigging or cheating in the vote. Zimbabwe's election is a race between a 75-year-old Mnangagwa and a long-serving security chief who took over after Mugabe's removal, and a 40-year-old MDC leader Nelson Chamisa. The election in Zimbabwe saw a 75% voter turnout, results for which may not be revealed until the 4th of August. The chief of Malaysia's Civil Aviation Authority resigns after the latest investigation report on the missing Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 showed lapses by the Air Traffic Control Centre in Kuala Lumpur. The 49.5-page long report stated that the controls of the aircraft were deliberately manipulated to take it off course, but were unable to determine who was responsible for it. The report also stated that the Kuala Lumpur Air Traffic Control failed to initiate standard emergency phases. MH370 was on its way from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing with 239 people on board. The flight's disappearance 4 years ago remains one of the greatest aviation mysteries of all time. American fast food giant Chipotle shares took a hit this week. The Mexican grill's shares went down as much as 9% on Tuesday, following a series of food poisoning complaints. More than 100 people said they had fallen sick after eating tacos and burrito bowls at a Chipotle Mexican grill restaurant in Ohio. The news is a major setback to the company that was already reeling from food safety lapses in 2015 that sickened over 100 people with E. coli and Salmonella. The company shares were down 5.6% at $439.60, erasing gains made since Chipotle reported stronger than expected profit and same restaurant sales for its second quarter. Ahead of the 2018 midterm elections in the US, social networking giant Facebook has identified a new coordinated political influence campaign to mislead users and organize rallies ahead of the November US congressional elections. Facebook took down 32 pages and accounts from its site as part of its ongoing effort to combat foreign meddling in US elections. Facebook added that more than 290,000 accounts followed at least one of the pages and that about $11,000 had been spent on ads. The upcoming congressional elections will determine whether or not the Republican Party keeps control of Congress. Libya deported 160 migrants from Misrata city to Niger on Tuesday as part of its voluntary deportation program that puts illegal migrants in Libya on one-way flights back to their home countries. United Nations International Organization for Migration, in cooperation with the Libyan authorities, initiated the deportation program to ease off crowding in detention centers. The deportation comes days after the Tripoli Coast Guard rescued over 500 migrants heading to Europe on 4 different boats. Thousands of migrants have died in the Mediterranean Sea, and the route between Syria and Italy remains the deadliest. The International Organization for Migration also stated that about 50,000 migrants have reached European shores so far this year, which is double the number at this last year. In a slight relief for Indian business tycoon Vijay Mallyas, an extradition hearing was adjourned until September 12th at the Westminster Magistrates Court. In a long-running case brought by the Indian government, wants to extradite the 62-year-old former liquor baron from Britain so that he can face charges of fraud and money laundering. A group of Indian banks seek to recover more than $1 billion loans granted to his defunct Kingfisher Airlines. Mallyas' case has been further weakened as he lost control of his Formula One motor racing team last week. Mallyas' defense team has been fighting his extradition to India, citing mainly the poor condition of jails in India. French President Emmanuel Macron will meet British Prime Minister Theresa May in France later this week. Sources state that May will convince France to soften its stance on Brexit. Experts believe that France stands in the way of a soft Brexit, with President Macron determined to extract financial services, jobs and investments from London to Paris and strike a hard deal. May will meet the French Premier at his retreat in the south of France on Friday and urge him to work with German Chancellor Angela Merkel to support an unprecedented EU association agreement with the UK. "85 people have been injured as an Aero-Mexico plane crashed in Mexico's Durango state shortly after takeoff. Images of the crash were first shared on social media. The plane carrying 97 passengers and 4 crew heading from Durango to the capital city of Mexico crashed on takeoff. Passengers claimed that there was an unusual movement as the aircraft was taking off amidst a heavy hailstorm. Emergency services, the Army and the Red Cross quickly arrived at the scene to aid the injured passengers. Thousands of loyal followers of Indian politician Aruna Nestle continue to throng the streets in South India's Chennai as the 94-year-old politician remains in hospital. Aruna Nestle has been battling an infection and has been under intensive care in the past week. The charismatic self-styled champion of the poor was Chief Minister of Southern State of Tamil Nadu 5 times in a row and has contested 12 state elections. Pakistan's ousted Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif was moved back to a Diyala jail from a hospital after doctors signaled an improvement in his health. Nawaz Sharif was shifted to the Pakistan Institute of Medical Sciences in Islamabad 2 days after he reportedly fell sick inside prison. Sharif and his daughter Maryam Nawaz were jailed on July 13th after a court sentenced them to 10 and 7 years, respectively, over properties in Britain which emerged in the wake of Panama Papers revelation. Scientists in Japan's Kyoto University announced the beginning of the world's first clinical trials to treat Parkinson's disease using reprogrammed stem cells. Parkinson's is caused by a lack of dopamine made by brain cells. Researchers hope to use stem cells to restore normal production of the neurotransmitter chemical. In August last year, scientists from Kyoto University carried out successful trials on monkeys, and the human trials are set to begin in August this year. If successful, this therapy can help the estimated 10 million people who suffer from Parkinson's disease worldwide. Ten people have been injured in a collision of two passenger trains near the popular Peruvian tourist destination of Machu Picchu. 5 of the 10 were seriously injured when trains from two of the largest Machu Picchu transport operations collided several miles from the old Inca citadel. Images posted on social media showed a train from Inca Rail and another from Peru Rail pressed up against each other on a rail track. Officials said that the passengers with serious injuries were taken to a clinic outside Cusco City. Sweltering temperatures in China have caused a 1,000-year-old salt lake to turn brilliant colors in North China's Shanxi province. The reason for the lake's colorful appearance is due to the large amounts of algae and brine shrimp that multiply rapidly under the hot weather conditions. It is one of the 3 great sodium sulfate inland salt lakes in the world. The other 2 are the Great Salt Lake in Utah, the US, and Lake Kuchuk in Siberia in Russia. Shipping comes to a grinding halt in Germany's Elbe River as the country battles its worst ever heat wave. Water levels in the river Elbe measured a mere 49 centimeters on Tuesday. Freight was still being delivered despite shallow water on the Rhine, although many vessels were being forced to carry lighter loads. Germany had its hottest day of the year last week with temperatures touching 32 degrees Celsius in Berlin and 37 degrees Celsius in the city of Cologne. Unrelenting sunshine has hit most of the country and as spring drought continues. Firefighters in California continue to battle the mammoth fire that has killed 6 people and razed nearly 42,000 hectares of parched forest in Redding City. The city's 90,000 residents have witnessed more than 800 homes reduced to the ash in the fire, which have been raging for a week. It is estimated 37 people remain under mandatory evacuation orders. Authorities have reported that they have seldom seen such intense fires with high levels of unpredictable. Now, this latest raging fire is a result of a volatile mix of drought-parched vegetation, triple-digit temperatures, and erratic winds. Relief and rescue aid has poured in for the thousands of Laotians who remain displaced after a hydroelectrical dam collapsed on July 23rd in the southern Atapiu province. Hardest hit is the Sansme district, where 5 schools and the district government building complex have all been transformed into shelters for over 3,700 displaced people. Large quantities of relief supplies have also been transported to them to meet their daily needs. However, concerns about the future of the displaced thousands in rescue shelters remains uncertain. The northern belt of India continues to be lashed with heavy rains, with several cities facing flash floods and landslides. Cities around New Delhi such as Moradabad, Kanpur, Lucknow, Gorakhpur and Patna remain the worst affected. In New Delhi, more than 10,000 people who live near the banks of Yamuna River were shifted to temporary tents on higher ground. More than 1,500 people have died so far this year across India due to storms, floods and landslides. Hollywood actors Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Bradley Cooper and 6 other main cast members of Guardians of the Galaxy have issued an open letter in support of ousted director James Gunn. The Walt Disney Company fired Gunn from directing the third installment 10 days ago over old tweets where he joked about subjects like rape and pedophilia. Pop star Madonna is celebrating her upcoming 60th birthday with a fundraiser for orphans and children in Malawi. The singer said that she is teaming with Facebook for the fundraiser. Fans can donate directly to Madonna's Facebook page or start their own fundraiser on the social media site to raise money for the singer's campaign. Hollywood actress Lindsay Lohan will star in an upcoming docuseries tentatively called Lohan Beach Club on MTV. Cameras will follow Lohan as she launches an exclusive seaside spa, restaurant and nightclub called Lohan Beach House. It will be her third business venture in Greece. Filming is now underway in Mykonos and is expected to premiere on MTV in 2019. Croatia is mourning the death of a popular pop singer Oliver Drago, who was also loved throughout the former Yugoslavia for his romantic songs celebrating love and the Adriatic Sea. The government has declared a national day of mourning in memory of the singing legend at the prestigious Split Theatre at the Adriatic coast.